Ladies and gentlemen, before we embark on any journey of reflection, transformation, or discipline, we must begin with reverence, not only for the subject at hand, but for one another. It is in that spirit that I speak to you today, not to scold, not to point fingers, and certainly not to present myself as a man without fault, but to invite you into a space of quiet thoughtfulness, a space where we examine ourselves honestly, without masks, and where we allow truth, not ego, to speak the loudest. The phrase, "close your mouth," might sound harsh at first. It might strike the ear like a reprimand. But I ask you to set aside any offense and open the door to a deeper understanding. This message is not about silence, it is about the immense potential hidden in restraint, the wisdom that lives in quietness, and the peace that follows when we learn to hold back what the world so quickly throws out: an unexamined opinion, a careless word, a destructive tone. Each of us here has spoken in moments we should have been silent. We've interrupted when we should have listened. We've answered too quickly, judged too harshly, and defended ourselves when we should have humbled ourselves. This isn't unusual. It is deeply human. But what is human is not always what is best. The greatness of a person is not measured in how quickly they can reply, but in how deeply they can reflect before they speak. So I don't come to you today with condemnation, but with a sincere invitation, an invitation to step back, to slow down, and to give our mouths a rest long enough for our minds and hearts to catch up. This is not weakness. It is in fact one of the highest forms of strength. It takes very little power to speak. It takes enormous strength to remain silent when provoked, patient when misunderstood, and thoughtful when tempted to lash out. It takes maturity to realize that not every opinion must be voiced, not every conflict must be won, and not every silence is an absence. Sometimes silence is a presence, a space where healing begins. This message is not about becoming passive, voiceless, or withdrawn. It is about discovering the moments when restraint serves better than reaction. And so I ask you, not as a superior, not as a preacher behind a pulpit, but as a fellow traveler in need of grace, to join me in exploring the discipline of the tongue. In this space today, let us not speak just to be heard, but to grow. Let us not leave here with louder voices, but with clearer hearts. And may we together understand what it truly means to close our mouths, not in fear, but in wisdom. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as we rise from this time of reflection, let us not forget that the world is full of voices, some loud, some angry, some desperate to be heard, but not all of them are wise. The power to speak is one of the greatest gifts we possess, but the power to withhold a word until it is ready, until it is right, is what separates the careless from the careful, the impulsive from the intentional, and the common from the courageous. Closing your mouth does not mean closing your heart, nor does it mean abandoning your convictions. It means knowing when your words will build and when they will break. It means recognizing that silence can sometimes say more than speech ever could. It means allowing space for understanding, growth, and even healing, not only in others, but in yourself. Let us then become people whose words are few but full, whose silence is strong, and whose presence speaks even when the mouth does not. May we learn that the discipline of restraint is not an act of weakness, but an instrument of wisdom. And may we live in such a way that when we do speak, people will listen, not because our voice is loud, but because our silence was meaningful. Thank you.